Well, awesome. Hey, Tina, thanks for joining me today. I appreciate you taking the time.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
You've been a customer of ours, or 4Sight's been a customer of ours since May 5th, 2000.
May 5th, 2000.
That's an incredible 25-year run.
Yes.
So you started on 300. Now you're on Intacct. Tell me a little bit about the decision-making process behind that.
Oh, we were kind of tired of not being able to get a hold of anything right away. You know, you have all this ability to click and choose something. And with 300, you didn't have that. You would have to search, and we'd have to keep everything on a server to find all the files. And so we're like, there's got to be something better in the reporting, and something just much easier and user friendly.
And you guys talked to Justine through the process. And how was the process during like the sales and kind of research and, taking a look at the system and what it can do?
I think Justin and I kind of did the research kind of ahead of time and kind of knew, and then followed up with you guys and certainly reiterated what we thought, So it was pretty, I don't know, I felt like it was a pretty easy decision.
Was it, is it kind of like buying a car? Was there like an excitement moment for it?
Oh yeah, no, we were excited to get switched over for sure. Who wouldn't be, to go from the dinosaur we had?
So many people they're on the outdated systems. You mentioned the server and, just having to do manual backups, I'm sure, and just trying to find information. Now versus then, what's life like?
Oh, so much better, because anybody can go in there and click on anything and see it. So we put our invoices in there for the backup. I put contracts in there for the subcontracts. Estimates in there, so when we do the PO, we'll put their W-9s, their vendor information, their COIs, everything is in-housed in there. So you can click anywhere and get what you need.
So you don't have to search for it. You don't have to dig for it. You don't have to, go down into a rabbit hole and then come up with nothing.
Exactly. Exactly.
What are the aspects of Intacct that make your life easier day to day?
Oh man, there's so many things. It's user friendly and quicker. The reporting is better. With Velexo, now that we have Velexo, I was able to get him to get a report for me. So I said, with my cost plus draws, I have to do sometimes 300 pages for a backup to the draw. And so I said, is there any way that we could get a form to push a button and say, okay, here's your draw packet? And they pretty much came up with that.
And Velexo is the key to that.
Yes.
That's awesome.
I feel like Velexo is a must to have with Intacct. It gives you so much better, I don't know if I want to say reporting, but flexibility with reporting maybe.
Yeah, I was talking to a customer in St. Louis actually a couple of weeks ago, and he's like, we're in accounting. We're never getting rid of Excel, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So that's what Velexo allows you to do is, pull that information, and you can push that information back into the system.
Yes. Yeah. And our PMs do that. We've got a report that they'll do and push it back into the system.
Has it made coming to work, coming to do your job, has it made it more enjoyable?
I always enjoyed it. So I don't know that I can say that made any difference for me anyway.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
It does make it easier, but yeah, and less time consuming, especially with the draws.
What are some other aspects of Sage Intacct that you look at and you say, boy, I could not live without that now that I have it?
Oh boy, there's just so many features to it. I just love housing all the information in there, and on the web. So we can access it anywhere. We don't have to VPN to the network like we did before, which was a problem. So, and I work remotely out of the country some. And so I'm able to do that if need be. Makes it much easier, but it's a lot easier to gain access because it's all cloud-based versus VPN and into 300. And then, we've just had so much trouble with that.
And I imagine your PMs can get information more quickly as well, right?
Yeah, probably so. They still can kind of come to me, a lot of times for something. But yeah, they do have the ability to go in and get what they need for sure. And they do like the ability to be able to click and see the invoice And we actually have them entering the invoices now. They like that because it helps them have a better picture of the accountability with the money for sure, even though they looked at the invoice and approved it. This just kind of gives them, I don't know if it sets in their brain a little easier because they're actually doing the whole process or what it may be, but they do like that part of it.
It sort of distributes that accountability back onto them, right?
Yep. And then we have an approval process. So then after they do it, then we go in and approve it also. So
awesome.
Yeah.
What else about Intacct?
What else about Intacct?
Yeah.
Well, I liked I wasn't sure about the whole process in the beginning on the deployment and everything. I'm like, oh man, I don't know about this. But it was nice because you can go at your leisure and when you have time. And I do like the fact that you could always go back and refer to it. So it wasn't just with somebody coming in training you and then you're like, oh man, I forgot what they said. I didn't write a note down or anything like that. So it definitely eliminated that. So that part was really nice that, we can, and there's times I'll still refer back to something. If I can't find it on your YouTube channel or there, then I go to that. So
that's awesome.
But it is great,
That's great. I mean, we had done it when we implemented 300, I'm sure that was, assigned a single consultant and you worked with them and you either grasp the knowledge or you don't. And if you don't, then, you've got to get retrained, or in a lot of cases, you're not the original person that implemented it. So there are decisions that were made that, you're like, well, what's going on here? Or what's going on there?
Chris was my best friend. She was always.
And so you're leaning on them, right?
Right.
And so we wanted to create a system that you guys could always lean on, and you always have that access to those resources and all that good stuff. So
it is nice for that, definitely.
So how long did it take you guys to implement?
Oh, longer than we wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just because, you're doing two things. You got your normal job that you have to keep up with and then trying to do the training on the side. Well, I was a little less busy than Justin, so it made it a little easier on me, but, he was a lot busier, and he was the one that was doing the initial download of everything, getting everything uploaded and everything set up on the accounting side. So it was even more strenuous for him, but I think 6 months maybe.
Okay.
I was kind of hoping to do it in 3, but I want to say maybe 6.
Yeah, I think everybody has the plan A and plan B.
Yeah.
It's good to have those because.
Well, I found what happened was we would do it, and then okay, you're busy for 2 weeks, then you go back to it, and you almost have to refamiliarize yourself again where you were at. So it was like, man, now I got to take an hour or whatever to get familiar where I was at or what did what. So it's kind of nice if you can kind of try and stay on an even train to keep going if possible, even if it's just an hour or something a day, just to keep that familiarity.
Yeah, and well, you bring up a good point too. Like that's a feature I'll definitely talk to the team about. It's like almost just sort of a quick refresh. Hey, here's where you left off last time, and this is kind of some of the things you learned. So maybe it's a little easier for you to kind of pick that back up too, right?
Well, and you're not sure at the time when to mess with the sample data and when not. I know they don't give you that right away. But I think we talked you guys into giving it to us a little sooner than we were supposed to, and that did help actually. There was some things that just weren't real clear, but when you can kind of have a little hands-on to do it, it did help.
Okay. Yeah, that's good feedback.
Yeah. So
it took you 6 months, and you mentioned kind of having to go back and kind of refresh where you left off after maybe taking a break for a couple of weeks. How would that have been, though, like, if you had just a one-on-one consultant?
Oh, it would have been a nightmare because then you got to wait. When are they coming back? And then you got questions, and then you got to write your questions down, and you're going to forget. I mean, no, that would be, much more of a nightmare for certain.
Yeah, and a little more inefficient, and you probably would be charged for things that we already talked about that. I just needed a refresher, that type of thing.
Right, exactly.
I mean, now that you're through the deployment, have you guys started getting into some of the fun stuff like the automations and all that good stuff?
Oh, yeah. We've been using it now since July, I think. Is that when we went live? July. So we've been doing good. We've been doing a little bit of our own reports, little reports.
Good.
And, some forms. We've been able to generate some of our own forms and get those uploaded and in there. And they're pretty easy for the most part. Every now and then we need a little help. I mean, I was actually on the phone with Lisa yesterday because we ran into an issue with some subcontract change orders and wasn't working right. And still don't know what happened, but we think it may be working now. It was pretty baffling, but anyway, so.
Well, you mentioned Lisa. How was our team throughout the process?
Oh, excellent. Yeah, excellent. Very good. Always, and if I have to get on a Q&A, it's nice because everybody's kind of there so they can bounce off each other if need be. If one doesn't have the answer, somebody else might.
Yep.
So that part, has been great.
You mentioned earlier that the learning curve was fairly easy for Intacct. Maybe elaborate on that a little bit.
Well, it's a lot more user friendly. I mean, just easier just because it's the whole window base,
Easier to navigate.
Easier to navigate for certain. Yes. There's still a few things that you got to try and remember. I'm always telling Justin, where's this? Where do I find this? Remember, you go here into report, and I'm so used to just going to reports, and I don't go to like the module. Like if it's AP over to reports, I just go to the report center, and then not everything seems to be there, or I'm just not able to find it all yet. I don't know which.
Well, we can definitely set up those like custom menu items for you too. So make sure that you get on a Q&A and they have you do that.
I've done a little bit, but you're right. Yes, and I have the dashboard, but I haven't really utilized the dashboard much.
Yeah, well, it'll make your life a little easier when you do.
I know. I've got one set up, and I really just haven't messed with it. I don't know why, but
you'll get there. You'll get there eventually.